Welcome back to the first episode of the second half of the season when we face the San Antonio Bears. They ranked number 11. Now, this is a special episode. The gameplay will be extra short this week, but we have a new power rank and we have all the midseason awards, and we're also going to be going over the top players in this next draft. Now, position wise, we don't know what they will be, or there isn't even a mock draft yet, but we will be going over some of the biggest stories that you guys may have missed that was on the Discord, plus many more. But here we go, first down and 10 for the Bears. They're known for their passing attack here, but they give it to their running back first. Here he goes, and almost gets a first down. Good run by number 29 there, Lions. He's had an up-and-down career so far in the league. Now Gutierrez under center, giving it to Lions again, and he gets stopped for a big loss by Evan Forbes. He's really shown up, and in almost every game that he's played, he's just about everywhere. And ever since Ahmad Rice came back on that left outside linebacker position, but there he goes, Bear Calhoun up the middle. Rice really demands a lot of attention, and Calhoun and Johnson have been lining up offensive lines since Rice came back. Now with our offense here, Jackson Thomas over the middle of the field to Beckham the third. He gets a gain of 8. Now, these receivers are going to have subpar numbers compared to the rest of the league, since we do run the ball quite a lot, especially with our two-back system. Reed Weathers gets the handoff. He breaks the tackle. Christopher Snell right there takes him down. Snell is their top player on the team. He's the best strong safety in the league. One of the best tacklers and run support safeties as well. But Reed Weathers right there just putting the whole team on his back as he gets some good blocking. First down 10 now. Jackson Thomas running away from pressure from Jones. He sends it deep, and it's almost caught by Angel Lopez down the field, but it is off the mark. Now second down and 10. Thomas. He's had an up-and-down season so far to Lopez this time for the first down. Angel Lopez has really shown that receiver. He is spectacular over the middle of the field. Now first down and 10, they give it to Darren Morris, who gets some good blocking. He hurdles 2 defenders and gets hit down at the 29-yard line. Second down and 3, they're going to run with Weathers in this short yardage situation. They don't. Thomas, he sits in the pocket too long, and as he fires, he gets hit. It doesn't matter, though. It's still going to be a third down and 3 here. Thomas under center throws it down the field to Beckham the third, and he gets taken down for the first. Beckham has had a down season compared to last year, but when it comes to his production per game, it's about the same. But there he goes, Angel Lopez down the left side. It makes sense, though, because last year Humes liked to throw it to the right a lot, and Thomas likes to throw it to the left, as Weathers gets the ball up the field for the first. We're going to fast forward here, second and goal at the San Antonio 5-yard line. Thomas under pressure. He throws a perfect pass to Gonzalez, but he drops the ball. Gonzalez has had a quiet game so far. He's one of the best slot receivers in the league. Now Thomas throws a screen pass to Morris, but he was out of bounds. Snell right there. Mad he didn't make the play, but still the ball is kicked up and it's through the uprights by Hall, as we're going to look at the new power rank. Now, as we see here real quick, number 11, like I said, is the Bears. They have fallen by 9 points. And then if we also look at the Cavalry, they've gone up by 1 point. The Cavalry have had a pretty good season so far. They started at 4 and they moved up. The Blackbirds, who we traded for Ahmad Rice with, they've gone up 14 points. And then we look at the probably worst team that's fallen the most, it might be the Hawks. They started at 12 and they've fallen all the way down to 24. Bullheads are up there in the top 15. Dragons there in the top 15. But still, here we go with the Cavalry. Up the middle of the field. Gets a good gain. First down and 10 for Darren Morris again. Now, the reason why we fast forwarded here is the fact that the offense of the San Antonio Bears did not do anything. So we're back here with Boston in control, up by 3. Thomas sits in the pocket. He throws a dot down the field to Beckham the third. Snell with the tackle, but Beckham just destroyed him on that route right there to the sideline. That's going to be first down and 10 as they give it to Darren Morris. He gets some good blocking, and Snell decleats Morris, but that's still a gain of 7. We're now into the second quarter of the game. Like I said, this game's going to be a little bit shorter than most. Now, Darren Morris gets some good blocking. He runs it in all by himself. Morris is really good in that single back formation, whereas Weathers is really good in the split back. First down and 10 as the Bears fail to do anything yet again. Thomas lobs it deep to Lopez. He gets his feet in, and that's going to be in the red zone as we continue. First down and 10 for Boston. This offense is unstoppable. Thomas throws over the middle to Lopez. Touchdown! Angel Lopez is a spectacular receiver here for Boston. Now, Miles Claiborne, the coach for San Antonio, has said that their defense is one of the weakest parts of the team due to their actual linebacking core being one of the worst in the league. Now Gutierrez throws it down the middle to our former tight end, Smoochie Wallace, from the Discord. He gets a big catch over the middle of the field. Now Gutierrez, he does lack arm strength, and he's a lefty. But now Gutierrez throws it again, a perfect pass, but Smoochie Wallace dove for it when he really didn't have to, and he dropped the ball. What can Gutierrez do here as he gives the ball to Lyons, and he gets to the left side and taken down? Third down and 7 now. They need something to happen. Gutierrez, no pressure, throws it down to the right side to Matt Barker down the field. One of the underrated deep threats in the league. Now, they really haven't been able to get their passing game going due to the fact that the pressure coming in is so relentless up the middle of the line. First down and 10, they give it to Lyons. He gets tackled down by Ahmad Rice. Rice is probably the best linebacker in the league, and they really have him just destroying O-linemen all the time as Julian Johnson makes a big hit in the backfield. He's been on fire on defense, and there's rumor that he's going to retire on offense just to be a defensive lineman full time. And now Gutierrez breaks one sack, but there's another. Julian Johnson with another big sack, and the ball is kicked, and it's through the uprights as San Antonio finally gets on the board with 3 points. Now Boston, they've been pretty much in control all game. Can it continue? Jackson Thomas, perfect protection, but he runs out anyway, throws across his body to Bryson Rice down the field. Bryson Rice, a amazing tight end that we just really don't see much, and he just mossed Snell deep down the field. First down and 10. Thomas outrunning pressure. He throws on the run, and it's caught by Bryson Rice yet again. Bryson Rice, I mean, he's a 6'7" or 6'8" target. I mean, it's really hard to cover him. As now, Thomas again throws it to the middle to Xavier Gonzalez. One of the fastest slot receivers in the league, and it does help that he's an oversized slot receiver. So he's 6'4" and can jump out of the building. First down and 10 now for Jackson Thomas and the Boston Cavalry. As he steps back, he throws to the right side. It's almost intercepted by Christopher Snell. He's known to have a lot of pass deflections every year, but not many picks. As now Thomas gets pressured, he throws it, and it's another. No, it's actually intercepted by Snell. He was right there as the ball was tipped, and he caught it right before it touched the ground. And now San Antonio has some momentum. Can they capitalize on it? Gutierrez is under center as they give the ball to Lyons. He jukes out Corey Mills, and then Beckett Bradshaw right there Almost couldn't get him, but finally did. But Lions, super excited. He got the first down, and now they're rolling as they give the drop play to Lions. But again, big tackles by the Boston defense. Now 3rd down and 8. Gutierrez in the shotgun. He steps up and gets sacked by Jeremy Bear Calhoun. One of the widest D tackles in the league. Now 2nd down and 2 now for Boston as Jackson Thomas gets rushed. He throws it. It's overthrown. We actually haven't seen that much this year. It's now Thomas again over the middle to Beckham the third. And he gets taken down. Jackson Thomas is really good at reading those linebackers. I mean, he's really starting to come up when it comes to reading defenses. And now Thomas goes to the right side and just misses Gonzalez. Admittedly, it's raining cats and dogs right now, so his hands are probably a little slick. And now Thomas again throws it deep to Gonzalez. Touchdown, Xavier. Speed Gonzalez. Wide open in the corner of the end zone. And that's going to finish the game here. As we see here, 31-3. I mean, the Bears had no chance. Boston is absolutely on fire, and I'm not surprised. They pretty much went all in this season because they really won a championship. And I don't blame them. And now we're going to look to midseason awards here. As MVP is quarterback Drew Lowry. He was originally a top pick in the draft years ago. He left to go to developmental, even though he was starting to get really good and only threw 2 or 3 picks for the now San Antonio Bears. He goes, he does really well in developmental for a year to where he doesn't throw a pick all year. He comes back as the backup for Las Vegas last year and couldn't get past Al Frills, but it was just because Frills, I think they just wanted to tank that year. So Lowry didn't throw a pick for that year. And then this year, he hasn't thrown a pick since week 3, where he threw 1. So he only has 1 pick in 3 years. He's a special talent. And honestly, it's surprising to see how good he's become. I mean, he's really poised in the pocket. He used to be a really big scrambler, but now he's not. And now then we also look at offensive player for the first 8 weeks. And that's going to be his wide receiver, Monty Hill. I mean, he has the most average yards per reception of any wide receiver, especially with his amount of catches. I mean, he's spectacular, and I think next year he's going to be probably the best deep threat in the league. Defensive player of the first 8 games is our CB Ralph White, who currently has 13 pass deflections. The next person next to him is the all-star best CB in the league, Leonard Selvey, who has 7. So he has like half the amount. Now, Selvey does have more picks, but Ralph White, I mean, he's intense. And with him and Corey Mills, they feed off each other. Now, Corey Mills has been beat a couple times, but Ralph White, I mean, any catch that he's been mossed on, I mean, is understandable. And then Rookie of the Year, now, it could have been Ralph White, and it probably should have been. But the fact that he got Defensive Player of the Year, or the Defensive Player of the midseason, I should say, I need Rookie for this one. And it's going to be Edge Carrion Max Attack. He's one of the best edge rushers in the league for the Sailors. He's came in and just, well, attacked offensive lines. He usually plays linebacker, so he could play some zone coverage and a little bit of man. I mean, he's very good with the hips. But when they do send him on the blitz, I mean, he's looking almost like Ahmad Rice. Now, in this year's draft, there's 3 really good defensive ends that could rival Max Attack here. But this is the FFL Midseason Award winners. And now let's get into some of the biggest stories, starting with quarterbacks in the draft. I'm going to start off with quarterback number 3. Now, in some of these, they will be out of order for certain reasons. and some share the same number, especially when it comes to DBs, because they're so close to each other. It's hard to really rank them. But James Hunter Frills the second. I mean, his dad's name is James Hunter Frills the first, and he goes by Al. We all know him as the future Hall of Fame quarterback, now currently backup for the Warthogs. I mean, he's been playing football for almost 20 years now, and he had a kid very young, and there he is. He is only 18 years old. He's in developmental right now and will be 19 when he actually gets drafted. He came into this season in developmental as the number one quarterback that possibly could be going into the draft. He has fallen to the third. It's because he has thrown even more picks than his last year in high school. He's a gunslinger, and he has good accuracy and good arm talent in general. His issue is the fact that his ability to read defenses is trash. I mean, and the fact is a lot of scouts have said that possibly because his dad is a Hall of Famer, that he might be getting way too much credit for what he's done in the past, and that he actually might be overhyped, and that's why he's falling to third. Especially because the next guy we're going to see, he has an interesting story and really shouldn't be the second best quarterback, but he is. But yeah, James Hunter Frills the second. All I can really say is he's mobile. He can be very risky, but he can be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He could be an Ezra Star. He just needs to grow. And if you have a pick this year, I really don't think he deserves it. Now, number two, the second best quarterback is Dusty Pop Warren. About 16 to 17 years ago, he was a star quarterback in high school, and he was ready to jump ship to the league in just a couple years. He was in a very bad car accident, which left him practically paralyzed due to some serious back injury. Now, of course, that made it so he couldn't play football ever again. He goes into coaching at 19 years old. He is now coaching in developmental as an offensive coordinator, if not one of the best offensive coordinators. He is 36 years old, and he will be turning 37 before the draft. He'll be one of the oldest quarterbacks in the league. He'd be almost as old as Chris Young, which his son is coming out this year at running back. But both of his quarterbacks went down with injury, and his coach had no one else, and they weren't going to forfeit their games. So he decided that he passed his physicals, and he decided to play. And Dusty showed off. He's one of the best game managers in the league. Now, luckily, on his team, he has one of the best running teams in the league. But the fact is he took his team to the playoffs, and they're currently in the playoffs in developmental. I mean, they shouldn't have made it. They lost 8 in a row, and because he came in, they went 8-8 and barely made it. He has some very lucky throws, and his throw power isn't that great. His accuracy's okay, but he's able to read coverages very well, just like Junior Barnyard. Now, Barnyard probably had the worst arm of all time when it came to talent, but the fact is he was accurate and he could read defenses very well. So he is the number 2 quarterback, and now let's go to number 1. He is a surprising man on this list. Before the season started, he wasn't even on a team in developmental. It's Cortez Simmons. Now, he's a bigger quarterback. He's only 6'1", but he's about 240, and people say he might be pushing 250. Now, he's no Terrence Thomas, where Thomas ballooned up. He's actually lost some weight throughout his season in developmental, but he's insane. He's a gunslinger like Frills Jr., but the thing with Cortez Simmons is the fact that he has a really good arm. Again, not like Terrence Thomas. I would say it's an elite arm talent, and because he is a gunslinger, he has made some good decisions, and he's propelled his team to be one of the best teams in the league all by himself. He had no hype coming in. He was a backup quarterback that just got a shot in the first week because their starting quarterback was hurt, Adam Braithwaite. He, is known to be like the quarterback, and the sad part is Cortez Simmons has led his team to the playoffs, but it has been just announced that he did not win the starting job, and Braithwaite is going to be starting over him, which is a horrible idea. Cortez Simmons has the hot hand. He has amazing arm talent, and just because you don't know when it will end, you're just going to bench him at the very end of the season when you could easily win a championship with this guy. I mean, I think it's set that he's going to be going into the draft. I mean, he's the number 1 quarterback, and I would say he's going to come in and be a top 10 quarterback right away, so anyone would want him. Now, next will be running back, and this one's going to be a little bit weird. We're going to start with Pablo Parker. We have him at number 2 on the running backs, but the thing is, it's really a tie with number 1. The difference is Pablo Parker is a running back. I mean, he has some catching ability, but he's not going to be a receiver out of the backfield. He's not going to, he's not going to be able to go out wide. He's not going to be able to go on streaks. You hand him the ball, and he takes it for 6. I mean, a lot of ways, he looks a lot like Darren Morris. He's a lighter Darren Morris who can juke. He can, speed past people. There's another running back. I believe his name is Keith Jones. He is also there, and he's right there with Pablo Parker. But the thing with Jones is that he's more of a speedster, and he's really not known to break tackles, even though he has the size. And I really don't see him doing anything. Whereas Pablo Parker, even though he's smaller than Jones, he may not have that speed, but he's able to go through people. He's able to go around people. He's able to spin. He is Angel Akins, really. I mean, I think a perfect player to compare him to is Angel Akins. Later in his career, Akins did get the receiving part of it, and he gained a little more power, a little more strength. Now, Akins had multiple ACL injuries before coming into the FFL. Pablo Parker, his injury slate is clean. He is a spectacular back. I mean, the only issue is if your team relies on a receiving back, like Angel Phoenix, or like with Philadelphia, or the Flight even with Olivier Strauss, or Oliver Strauss, however you want to call him. Now, and that's where number 1 comes in, which is Junior Young. His name is Chris Young Jr., obviously. He is the 3rd youngest son of the owner of the LA Monarchs and current starting quarterback for the LA Monarchs and head coach, Chris the Franchise Young, who's one of the most popular players to ever play the game. Currently, his twin sons, who were the firstborns, Bryce Bubba Young and I believe Brandon Young, are both on the Monarchs. Now, he didn't want the one that has his namesake to be a running back. He wanted him to be a receiver, but Junior said he wanted to be a running back, and he fought for it. And then he was told to stay in high school, but he graduated early and decided to hop on to developmental in week 3 and has had the same amount of production as Pablo Parker in total yards. Now, Junior Young, his rushing yards may not be insane, but the fact is his route running is elite at running back. It might be lackluster at wide receiver, but his speed, his agility, his catching radius is insane for his size, and he lacks size to be a quarterback or receiver, so I think running back would be perfect for him, especially with teams like Philadelphia, like the Flight, like, teams like that, even the Gladiators, with Mashabi Hunt. Instead of Hunt, you could have Young and really have this dynamic backfield instead of just having 2 power backs. But, yeah, Junior Young is probably the top player on offense in this draft when it comes to the sexy picks, as they say. Now, next, we're going to have a lot of just certain players, and that's going to be tight end Rashawn James. He's a basketball star like Angel Lopez was, but he decided he wanted to work on his receiving in football, and he's become the best receiving threat this year. He can play wide receiver. People saw how Angel Lopez played at receiver and really liked it, so they put Rashawn James there, and they moved him to tight end. They moved him out. They have put him even at running back. Now, he's an undersized tight end. He's 6'4", but the fact is he is athletic, like dunking from the free throw line. Athletic. He is spectacular, and as you see here, like, he can moss pretty much anybody he wants. He has the hops, and he can come in and be immediately your best tight end, especially because, like Ronald O'Shea, like some other tight ends, he's really worked on his route running, especially because he played outside. Route running was his top priority because he knows he can jump, he knows he can box out defenders, but route running is his specialty, and he loves it. So he loves burning defenders, and you can't really put a CB on him like Leonard Selvey because he could just moss Leonard Selvey. You can't put a safety on him because most safeties, except for one or two, are not going to be able to cover him just because of coverage skills and the fact that, you may be good at tackling, but with a guy like Rashawn James, I mean, he is spectacular. I think that he might be one of the most athletic players to be in this draft, and he's one of the bigger boomer bust players on offense. Now, next player is going to be an offensive lineman, and he's the only offensive lineman that I think is draftable, and that is Kevin Cole. He's a center / tackle. Now, he has one big thing against him, and the fact is, I don't know if you can tell in the picture, he is small. He is 6'6". I mean, he's huge when it comes to height, but he's only 290, which is big, but for center, I mean, he's pretty lean. He can definitely add on another 50 pounds of muscle and just be like a stalwart. But, he's strong, but he's more technical. And so, like, he could be a good tackle, I think, when it comes to being able to be quick and agile on that side. And now at center, there's a lot of big D tackles like Bear Calhoun, like Donnie Perry, like Big Bubba from the Monarchs. I mean, you have these guys who are, some of these guys, 6'3", 6'4", but they're 350 to 400 pounds. You have a guy who's 7 foot and 400 pounds. I mean, Kevin Cole would just be thrown around like a toothpick at that point. Do I think he needs to gain weight? Probably. But the fact is if you want to put him at guard and have him maybe even lose a little bit of weight and have him as a puller, I think he'll be spectacular. If you want him to gain just like 10 pounds and play tackle, I think he can do that. Center, I think, is pretty good too. The fact is he can really use those hands, and he's very quick at center. And, I mean, that's his natural thing. And the fact is, the reason why he is the best O-lineman, and really the only one that's draftable, is the fact that he's faced all 3 best D linemen that are about to be shown here, and he's shut down all of them, and he was the only good offensive lineman on his team. So, let's look at the D linemen now. These are going to be out of order. D lineman number 2 will be DeMar Bronson. He is voted the dirtiest player in developmental. Bronson is known for stepping on people's legs. He's known for even, quote-unquote, accidentally kicking people in the private area. He's known for face masks and straight up almost beating up people on the field. Now, he's also feared when it comes to pass rushing. His speed and size is weird. The fact is all 3 of these guys are around the same weight. Bronson, if he lost a little bit of weight, could play linebacker and if he gains some zone skills, but we really don't know if he has zone skills. Bronson is strong, and that first punch, I think, really scares a lot of O-linemen, because you look at him and he doesn't look that strong, but he is. And I think that's what he's really known for, just pushing the pocket. You look at his stats, they may not be the greatest, especially for the fact that he misses a lot of games due to being a dirty player. But I think he is a good player, and if you get a good coach with him, I think he'll be great. The problem is, I think he's more of a high floor than high ceiling type of guy. I mean, you're going to put him in, he's going to fill a role, and if he can stay on the field, I think he's good. But can he become an elite D-end? I don't know. And that's what makes D-end number 3 move up over DN number 2, and it's this weird thing, and I'll be talking about that in a second. But with Bronson, I mean, he said that he's going to destroy, that he, is going to be the best D lineman, but I really don't see how he could. Now, a guy who I can see could be the best D lineman is number 4, Jordan Valentine. Valentine is extremely athletic. Now, he's not like number 1. I mean, his hips are tight. His zone coverage is lackluster at best. His hands are bad. He's not that great at linebacker, except the fact that his straight line speed is impeccable. I mean, he has a Ahmad Rice type of top end straight line speed. So if you just wanted a guy who could contain a quarterback or just push the line at linebacker, I think he'll be perfect. The fact is, at D end, because he's so quick and he can do some swims and bend around the outside, I think he could easily be the number 1 D end. Now, why he's number 3 is that his stats are bad. I mean, he doesn't get a lot of he gets a lot of sacks, but he doesn't get a lot of pressures. He also is known to kind of take plays off, and he's kind of injury prone. But the fact is he may be a low floor player. He may not even be a backup. Maybe he should stay into developmental. But the fact is that his ceiling is so high when it comes to his athletic ability. If you can just make him maybe lose some weight and get some bend in those hips, he could play linebacker and be very good. But he's not going to be like number 1. Where number 1, we're going to talk about in a second, is probably one of the best defensive ends / linebackers to ever come out into this draft. He has a lot to be like max attack, but we'll get there in 1 second. So Jordan Valentine is the number 3 D end, but it's kind of a tie with Bronson. It's really hard to tell. It just depends on what you want, and if you want the type of player. Now, number 1 is Jayvon Logan. Jayvon Logan, I mean, he may not have the top speed like Jordan Valentine, but Logan has that agility. He has very fluid hips. He is the lightest D end out of the 3, and he can move to linebacker. He can bend around the outside. He can use swim moves, bull rushes, spin moves. He is awesome. His tackling ability is really good. He's able to read offensive linemen perfectly, jump the snaps. He is a great defensive end, and I think we've even seen him in linebacker in some situations, and he's good there too. He can play zone very well. Not like Ahmad Rice, where Ahmad Rice is probably the best zone coverage outside linebacker. He's one of the best sit and forget type of guys. But Logan can become that, and that is scary. He's probably going to come in as one of the most talented players in this draft. I mean, the DBs are up there. 2 of the DBs that are coming into this draft are spectacular, and the ones just outside the top of the DBs are almost as good. But defense this year is really spectacular with Jayvon Logan. I mean, the fact is that his sack numbers, he's top 2 in sacks in developmental, but his pressures are almost double number 2. He's the number 1 pressure type of D end, and it's really interesting to see how Logan will come up in the FFL, but I really do think he'll be spectacular and really move up the ranks and possibly be a almost platinum type player. Now let's get to actual linebacker in the middle linebacker department. We have two. Number 2 was Aaron Crocker. He could be drafted. Him and his teammate, Wolverine Justice, which he, spoiler, is number 1, have one of the best defenses in the league when it comes to stopping the run. But the fact is they also have the worst pass defense, and it's strictly because of these linebackers. I mean, Aaron Crocker is so lost when it comes to zone coverage, but the fact is he can't really be a pass rusher either. He's just a run stopper. I don't know if you guys remember him, but linebacker for the Hogs, Cody Anderson. I mean, Aaron Crocker is just that, except Crocker has said he's willing to lose some weight, which I think he's like 254 or something like that, to try to get some more bend in his hips, and he's like willing to work on the zone coverage. So, I mean, if you're a good coach, Aaron Crocker can make it to a team. Do I think he should be drafted? No. Mainly just because Crocker is known for like just being a big hitter, and that's pretty much it. He's also an okay tackler, but the fact is if you don't have the hips to, you can stuff the run all day, which, we need more run stuffers in the league because we have so many smaller zone coverage heavy linebackers that a lot of these running backs are getting close to, if not over, 2,000 yards a game. But you need both, and I think Crocker, I mean, he has the ability to grow as a linebacker. I wouldn't give up a draft pick just to have Crocker. But a person I would love to give up a pick for would be Wolverine Justice, number 7. It's his teammate, and the fact is he was the one given more of the zone coverage ability, and he can pass rush. He's smaller. He's like, they say he's 6'1". I think he's 5'11". He is smaller, but he's quicker. And he has actually a good amount of picks for linebacker, but a lot of them are tips. He has a lot of tips in it too. I mean, his zone coverage is remarkably better than Aaron Crocker's. But the problem with Justice is the fact that he's quick, he can hit hard, he's an okay tackler, really good at stopping the run. But there's pass deflection there, his stats look good, but if you really look into it, his zone coverage is trash. It's a little better than Crocker's, but not much. And the fact is he can't really keep up with tight ends due to his size. And, he can try, and he can tackle them, and he can hit them hard. But Rashawn James absolutely destroyed Wolverine Justice and Crocker in double teams. And with Justice, I mean, I personally think he can grow his zone and man coverage. He has the athletic ability. He's known to be a very hard worker. I mean, he was a safety before, and they made him gain some weight, and he's amazing. He just really lacks that ability to go into zone coverage and read the quarterback, but he does have the hip flexibility to do that, and his feet are very nimble as well, and I think you can actually really get him to be a good linebacker. Now, we're going to go into DBs. Now, some of these guys are CBs, some of these are safeties. I will tell you what exactly they are, and we're going to start off with number 2, I should say. He's tied for number 2, Dante King. Now, King is a balanced CB. He can play man coverage pretty well. He has some okay ball hawking ability, and he can play a little bit of man. So, overall, he can pretty much do everything. What he lacks is the fact that his run support is horrid. He's not like Leonard Selvey, where Selvey, even though he's tiny, the fact is he can at least hold, a line where the running back is coming, and he may not make the tackle, but at least he can slow him down. Dante King, on the other hand, I mean, sometimes he just looks lost in run coverage. I mean, he looks absolutely lost, and I think another big hit on him is, out of these 4 DBs, he's the least athletic. When it comes to top end speed, top end agility, he has good agility, but like some of these other guys are just so elite that there's just no way. And even number 3, his name is escaping me right now. It's Philip Ajaware, possibly. He is amazing. I mean, he can do man zone, but like his speed is really low, and they're actually saying he might be a free safety. But like Dante King, the reason why he's above him is just the fact that he's so balanced. And I think that, he's not a raw prospect when it comes to athletic ability, but the fact is you can build upon that coverage. But I personally wouldn't pick King in the draft. Now, this next guy, I probably would. This guy is a boom and bust prospect. He's another DB number 2. He's tied. It's Brandon Meeks. Now, the thing with Meeks is he's a CB, but he's a true DB because he could play free safety as well. He is athletic. And when I say athletic, I mean like, he used to run track. Marion Ray, I think for the Gladiators, is a perfect example of what Brandon Meeks could be. Marion Ray has been the fastest CB every single year since the moment he came into the league. Marion Ray still hasn't even really lost a step, even though he's in his early 30s. His coverage is starting to get a little worse, but Meeks, his coverage is not as good as Dante King's. I would say he's more of a man coverage guy. Zone's a little iffy at CB, but at safety, his man coverage is still really good, but his zone is better because there's more time to read where the ball is going. Now, the reason why Brandon Meeks isn't up there tied for number 1, and where I think he really could be, is his injury history. He's been injured almost every single year he's played football, and that's not going to change, whether it's developmental, whether it's high school. You're going into the FFL, and you need to be tough, and there's nothing wrong with that, missing time with injuries, but the fact is that, he has chronic foot issues, and that's not going to change. Also, another thing that's not going to change is his constant broken wrists. Not going to change. His knees are possibly being worn down with arthritis. People really don't know. So, is he going to have a 20-year career? Is he going to have a 10-year career? Is he going to have a 3-year career? We don't know. And that's why Jesse Barker is tied for number 1. Now, is he the fastest? No. I would say he's maybe not even faster than Dante King. Is his agility good? Yes. His ability to use his hips and to bend and to read the quarterback and be able to change direction, phenomenal. But the thing with Jesse Barker isn't his athletic ability or even his play. You look at his stats, and they're insane. In this year alone, this is his only year starting in developmental, he's had 3 turnovers per game by himself. That is, 48 turnovers by the end of the season? Jesse Barker is insane. Now, here's the issue though. His stats look insane. He's the all-time leader in turnovers when it comes to fumbles, picks, everything. Pass deflections too. But he's also on the best team in developmental with the best defense. And so he tends to be able to be more free range in the box because the free safety's covered, the CB's covered, CB's covered, possibly nickel, another CB's covered, linebackers are good. They're constantly they have 2, they have Jayvon Logan and somebody else who might be coming out next year, rushing at the passer, getting a whole bunch of pressures. Of course, Jesse Barker's just going to run up and intercept it or bat it down, or, he's the only guy they can really run to, and he's going to hit them hard and cause a fumble. He's really good at ripping the ball out. But in comparison, we have free safety Tremendous Johnson. Now, Jesse Barker, like I said, he's amazing. You look at his stats, they're insane. That's a box-strong safety that could possibly move up. He could play a little cover 2. He can maybe play middle cover 3. But nothing crazy. Tremendous Johnson, on the other hand, is on the worst team in the league. You see his stats, they are kind of trash. But you look at the tape. His zone coverage, insane. His speed, insane. Now, he does have a little bit of injury history because he used to be a running back. He is also Electric Johnson's brother from New York. But Tremendous Johnson, his thing is his ball hawking ability, his tackling abilities off the charts, his speed, just everything. I mean, he is the type of guy you want. Now, is he a perfect tackler? No. Is he a, what I would call a platinum type player or even a gold player? No. But he's a definite silver, and he's going to come in as probably a top 5, let alone safety, but DB in the league. And so it's really a battle. Some people love Jesse Barker and really want him to be the number 1 guy due to his insane stats. But Tremendous Johnson, on the other hand, a lot of people say that the fact is his floor is really high. His ceiling is insane. He could become a platinum type player. Whereas Jesse Barker, you never know. And he can go on the wrong team and be awful. So that will be the end of the mid-season draft class update. And there will be more news coming tonight on the Discord. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.